Hi everyone, and thanks for joining our webinar today. During today's talk, Understand Your Environment Better with Apple Device Inventory, we will discuss solutions and best practices for how to leverage the data in your Apple device management inventory to gain visibility into your environment and to automate tasks, to save time and costs, and to gain a better understanding of the overall bigger picture of your environment, to get a more holistic view. My name is Jason Stanlin. I'm a product marketing manager here at Jamf. And for today's agenda, I will discuss the customizable, automated, and integrated inventories within the Casper Suite, a best-of-breed Apple device management solution. Today, I'll walk through some workflows to show you how you can leverage the inventory in the Casper Suite for advanced and automated deployment, for security, and for integration within an enterprise environment. Here are some of the basic functions of a device management inventory, and during today's webinar, we will cover each of these in more detail. IT administrators are often held responsible for discovering, managing, and maintaining technology assets such as devices and applications. And IT administrators need to have visibility into which devices are entering their network and into what software is being used on those devices. This is important for controlling costs and compliance within organizations. And along with having the need to discover and manage an inventory of hardware and software, IT administrators need the ability to manage software licenses and volume purchases so that add cost to the organization that they support. And leveraging an inventory of licensed software can help IT to gain an understanding of the overall spend on licensed software, as well as report on where that money is spent. And once IT has a full inventory of hardware and software and can manage and measure the use of licensed applications, the data can be used to kind of manage financial spend, which is an important goal of technology inventories and can add value to an organization. And by giving IT the ability to measure where costs are incurred and how those cost-incurring technologies are used, IT can help allocate costs in the most appropriate ways for the organization. And when it comes to license management, a device management inventory can be used to manage how many licenses have been purchased and report on devices that have licensed software or volume purchased applications installed on them. IT administrators need reporting tools to ensure that licenses are used appropriately and that they're not under or overutilized, which could lead to either excessive costs or even legal issues. And with the Casper Suite, as devices are enrolled into management, an advanced level of inventory is automatically collected from the devices about existing hardware, software, and settings. This inventory ranges from device serial numbers to operating system versions to installed volume purchased applications to disk encryption status. And the Casper Suite also integrates with Apple Care's Global Service Exchange so that IT administrators can see warranty expiration dates, and this is something that can be automated with the Casper Suite. IT administrators can use this inventory to see which devices are enrolled into management and report on a wide range of data attributes to manage technology assets on the device. The inventory is also user-focused, which allows IT to tie devices to their owners via integration with Active Directory. And this enables IT to better manage assets associated with each user and gain an understanding of the cost per user based on the provisioning of their device. And the Casper Suite inventory is also fully extendable, allowing IT administrators to create custom fields to scope reports to, which enables reporting on an infinite number of customizable options. IT admins can make their own new fields. They can be freeform, they can be a drop-down menu that can be populated in the Casper Suite, or they can pull from the Jamf Nation, our online community, to discover new and useful scripts that can be used to automatically collect data from devices, such as time machine backup status on a Mac or an active network interface, battery life, ARD settings, so on and so forth. So with that, let's jump into a quick demo of some of the features we've discussed thus far. So this is the Jamf Software Server, or JSS. This is the part of the Casper Suite. It's a web-based interface that IT administrators will use to access inventory deployment and security features within the Casper Suite. So there are dozens of ways to really kind of view the inventory in the JSS here. The primary ways are through accessing computers, mobile devices, or users. And I'm going to show actually accessing the inventory from the perspective of a user here. I'm going to look up a user myself, and these users can be pulled in through Active Directory or populated locally within the JSS. And the devices, as they're enrolled into the Casper Suite, they can also be bound to Active Directory. So you can see here that this user, myself, I have one computer assigned 2 mobile devices and 8 VPP volume purchased application assignments. So if I drill down into my record here, I can see some general information that may again be pulled in from Active Directory. I can see the computers assigned to me, mobile devices, and assigned applications. If I drill down into my computer, I can see a wealth of information that populates in the inventory. General information, hardware and software information, operating system information. This user and location information can come from Active Directory. We can have purchasing information populated from Apple Care GSX automatically. Disk encryption information, licensed software. We can even see down to the granular level of the applications installed on the device, and this is updated in real time. Another way to actually look at the database and the inventory is from the perspective of applications, local user accounts, package receipts, peripherals, printers. You can actually look up any of these to see the inventory from a different perspective. So here, let's look up, we're on the Computers tab, so let's look up Evernote for Mac, and I can see now, broken down by version, all the different computers, Mac computers in my environment, that actually have Evernote assigned by version. It's another way to look at the inventory in the Casper Suite. I can also look at the inventory using advanced computer searches. So I have a number of them here. I can look at one I've already created, Adobe Photoshop Creative Suite 6 version 13.1.2. So with this, all I'm doing is saying, show me all of the devices in my environment that have Adobe Photoshop Creative Suite 6 installed with this version. And I can easily run this report to see all the devices that have that software installed, which in this case is only one. When building these, I can actually these advanced computer groups, and I can do this with mobile devices as well in a similar manner. I can just simply click Add, and I can add as many fields from the database as I want. Anything I can pick anything, battery, percentage charge. And I can use these operands and is not, more, less than, different operands to actually narrow down this particular group to whatever I want. So I can see, for example, who in my database has this application with this version in this building or in this department. So it's very granular capabilities here. I can also look at software from a different perspective. If it's paid for, I can look at licensed software records, and I can easily track licensed software within the Casper Suite. So here I can see I've set up licensed software records for Adobe Creative Suite, Microsoft Office for Mac, and Photoshop, and you can see the number of licenses I've purchased as I've provisioned these records, and the number of licenses that are actually in use on the devices in my environment. And these numbers here, these licenses in use, are automatically updated as licensed software gets deployed or installed or uninstalled or moved from the devices that are enrolled in the Casper Suite. So very granular capabilities here. I can easily add new software records from templates. I can also pull from a database of existing templates in our Jamf Nation community, which I'll talk about more in a moment. Or I can just create a new one from scratch. So I'll define how many software licenses I have, information about that license, and I can easily drill down into this to see exactly who has these licenses assigned. So a really easy way to see who has these licenses assigned, how many are in use. I can see here that I'm really kind of underutilizing my licenses, and I might want to scale back what I'm paying for. I'm probably losing money here. In the event that maybe I had 300 Adobe Creative Suite licenses in use and only 200 paid for, I might actually want to purchase more or risk perhaps having a lawsuit applied. So one more thing I'd like to show right now is what if I have a field in the inventory that I want to add that's just not in the core inventory. So if I look here at my device, there's just a missing field that I want to see and I just don't see here in the inventory. I can go and add new fields by going to extension attributes in the JSS. And I can either create one from scratch, which can be a freeform field, a script, or a pull-down menu. I can pull one from a template. We have a bunch of templates here. For example, what if I want a crash plan last backup? These templates will automatically pull in these scripts, which will run on the client device every time it checks into the Jamf software server. So this new field would be automated because this script would run on the device every time it checks in and automatically update the inventory. In a similar way, I can also upload new scripts from the Jamf Nation community. And this is our online community of Apple IT administrators all over the world. They can upload extension attributes and scripts that they create. And we can add those easily for our database to our database. So, for example, just pull one here: battery health status. I can click download here. It's going to download to my download folder, and then simply all I have to do is choose that script from the download folder that just downloaded and upload it into the JSS. And now I have a new extension attribute that'll be added to my database, a new custom field. And I can decide also where I want this in my database. So I can say I want it, let's say, in the operating system portion. I'll already have that one there. We'll just add another one called battery charge. So now when I go to computers, again, I can find a computer, go to operating system, and you can see this new field has been added in it. As soon as this device checks in, it will automatically populate this field as that script was applied and runs on that machine. So let's dive back into the keynote using the inventory for smarter deployments. So without automation, a single Mac or mobile IT administrator can face anywhere from handfuls to hundreds of requests a day, ranging from software requests to requests for printer mappings to trouble tickets or issues or needing to update software. Tons and tons of different kinds of requests can come in. And in fact, a 2014 survey conducted by Dimensional Research tells us that IT is physically involved in 91% of provisioning new devices, applications, and content. And this same survey also shows that 80% of IT administrators aren't confident in the tools that they have to automate this provisioning. So IT teams really need the right tools to help them anticipate and automate fulfillment of these resources when possible. And this can help make the workload more manageable and help IT to save time. IT also needs the ability to ensure that the right request is being fulfilled for the right user at the right time. A device management inventory can also be used to inform patch management and software update decisions. So within a device management inventory, IT can see what applications and versions users have installed on their machines and use that inventory for information to inform how updates to the machines are deployed and what machines need those updates. The Casper Suite's integrated inventory enables IT administrators to scope deployments to smart groups, which are groups that are dynamically updated using any combinations of attributes in the inventory. So similar to what we saw with advanced search. So for example, you could use the inventory to deploy licensed applications only to departments that have approval to use those licenses. Or maybe deploy applications if an application requires Flash. Maybe you check to see if the device has Flash already installed, and if not, install the latest version before you install that application. Or maybe deploy an app to everyone in a specific building. And these are just a few use cases of really almost an infinite number of options. When you consider the extension attributes and the custom data fields we just talked about, you could really create any kind of field you wanted and scope deployments based on that field or a number of different fields. And these deployments can be configured to occur automatically as changes occur in the environment, saving IT an abundance of time and probably frustration. So with the Casper Suite, IT can create an inventory of a very rich inventory. We can also map this inventory to different network segments, buildings, and departments. Or we can pull those things from Active Directory and use them for scoping. To deploy applications and content and settings of a very specific type to specific subsets of users. The Casper Suite can even be used to scope deployments by physical location based on a user's proximity to an iBeacon device. So that's a newer technology we brought on in the last year. And once policies and packages have been deployed, IT can add them to a custom dashboard to monitor the status of inventory updates and watch the progress. So let's jump into another quick demo of the features that we just talked about in regard to deployment. So we talked about smart groups. Smart groups can be built in a very similar way to how you build the advanced search. In creating them, you just simply name it, you can save it, and you can define any number of attributes you want to add, like for example operating system, and you can continue to add more and more fields to create a very granular smart group. Here I have one that just shows all devices in my environment that do not have Keynote installed. So that's the only criteria I've added here. I could easily say only ones that don't have Keynote installed in a certain department with a certain version of Keynote if I prefer to do that. But in this case, I'm just going to see who doesn't have Keynote installed, period. I see I have 22 computers that don't have it installed. Let's say I want that software to be installed on everyone in my environment. I can easily go to policies here, and I can create a policy that says deploy Keynote, deploy this package to any devices in my environment that are in that group. So anytime a device comes onto my network and rolls into Casper Suite and doesn't have Keynote installed, I can go ahead and have Keynote installed on that device without wasting resources on trying to install Keynote on devices that already have them. I can also, here's another example. We'll go back to another smart group. Here's one that's built already that shows any device that has any kind of updates available for it. So this is Apple updates, any Apple updates that are pending. I've created a policy here as well, Apple Software Update Server, and you can see here what we're doing here is we're saying you can either have software updates be deployed from the default update server, the computer's default update server, or we integrate with Apple's Software Update Server, or ASUS. And I can scope this to just simply push application updates to any devices that have any updates that are pending. Another thing that I can do is as I build these policies and these smart groups and configuration profiles in my environment, as I deploy these, I can actually click here to have them show in my custom dashboard. So when I come over here to my dashboard, you can see that I can see all the policies that I've deployed that I care about, all the configuration profiles, my smart groups that I care about most, how many non-compliant devices I have in my environment, warranty expirations coming up, disk encryption not enabled. Anything I want to put here, I can put here as I deploy it or later on after the fact. You see a lot of yellow here. This is a test instance. The hopes would be a production environment would have a lot of green. But I can easily here dive down into these and see what devices are either in that group or haven't had the software deployed yet. So diving back into the presentation, we'll talk a little bit about using the inventory in the Casper Suite and an Apple device management solution for security purposes. So not only do IT teams need the ability to use inventory data to deploy applications and content, but also to manage and maintain security compliance. Vulnerable devices enter enterprise networks every day, and they often go undetected and uncorrected. And IT administrators often are held responsible for ensuring that these devices are configured with security settings and restrictions to fend off these vulnerabilities. IT administrators are also responsible for reporting on the status of devices and verifying that security settings and restrictions have been applied. All of this helps organizations to mitigate risk and to protect proprietary and sensitive data. Also, as IT administrators access systems to apply and manage these device settings, it is important to manage and document access to the management tools themselves so that changes aren't applied to the wrong devices by accident and that IT administrators can only see what they need to see in the JSS and only see what they have access to see. And IT administrators can use the inventory in a device management solution to deploy security settings to devices based on their current status. So in other words, to use the inventory to scope things like encryption to a device that has been identified maybe as non-compliant or one that may contain sensitive data. IT administrators need the ability to deploy security settings to devices, but also to report on devices that may fall outside of the scope of what the organization defines as compliant. With the Casper Suite, IT teams can deploy security settings such as passcode enforcement, File Vault 2 encryption for Mac, Gatekeeper app restrictions for Mac, security restriction settings, and these are just to name a few. And when leveraging the inventory to create smart groups, as we talked about before, these security configurations can be deployed to devices as they enter the network automatically and or when they change status. So for example, File Vault 2 encryption could be automatically deployed to any device that does not already have it enabled. IT can also receive notifications when a new device is added to that smart group. So for example, when an unencrypted device enters the network and enrolls in the Casper Suite, IT can immediately be alerted that that device is unencrypted. Also, vulnerable or inappropriate software and applications can be prevented, blocked, or deleted immediately upon installation with the Casper Suite. The inventory in the Casper Suite is used to discover the application on the device, and then a policy can be run automatically deployed to remove it if it's so desired by IT in order to maintain compliance. Also, a very granular set of permissions can be granted in the Casper Suite to ensure that read-write permissions are granted appropriately to both local and Active Directory users or administrative users in the JSS. And this ensures that changes aren't applied to the wrong devices by accident, and IT admins can only see what they need to have access to see. So we're going to jump into another quick demo very quickly to talk about some of the features that we just discussed there. So if we'll take a look at another smart group from a different perspective, we can look at one that I've created a simple smart group called Disk Encryption Not Enabled. And in this case, we're just looking at the criteria of File Vault 2 partition encryption state is not encrypted. So I can easily see which devices in my environment are not encrypted. I have 61 devices here. Just as we did in our last example, I could, if I wanted to, create a policy that would encrypt these devices. So I could easily create a policy that says enable disk encryption. I can have it enable the encryption here. I have multiple different options for how I want to encrypt my device. And then I can have it scoped to the smart group that I just created. So I can easily identify very quickly which devices are not encrypted in my environment and then go forward and encrypt them if I desire. Another example in the mobile device side, we kind of haven't gone into the mobile device side. A lot of the things we've talked about today apply to both. But on the mobile device side, we can also create something. Here's another example like activation lock bypass enable. I can easily see in my environment by simply pulling out of the inventory. As you can see, there are slightly different fields on the mobile device side, but I can pick any of these fields and use them for scoping my smart group too. In this case, I just want to see any devices that have activation bypass lock enabled, activation lock bypass enabled, and then view those. I see I have 65 in my environment. So just another quick example of security in motion using the inventory in the Casper Suite. And lastly, we talked about software restriction. That occurs on the Mac side. So if we want to restrict software on an OS X device, we can easily create a software record. I can name it whatever I want. I can apply it to a specific sort of partition or instance or site within my database or to all computers in my database. And then I can just define a process. Like if I wanted to say install assistant or any name of any process that I have defined as something I don't want to run because I don't want to support it yet, or it's a security compliance issue, it's a vulnerability, I can easily just define the process name here. I can either have an email sent to me if anyone installs that software. I can automatically kill the process, and or I can even go as far as to delete the application depending on how aggressive I want to be. So you can see one here that was built to restrict the install assistant and potentially block Yosemite. Diving back into the presentation here, into the keynote, let's talk a little bit about using an inventory in an Apple device management solution for integration within an enterprise environment. So a device management inventory can be integrated with other enterprise systems to provide a single pane of glass for auditing and reporting. And this can make it easier for IT teams to get a holistic view of all of the technology and data points that reside within an organization and help IT to understand the relationships between them. Integrations are key to managing all technology across an organization. So all of the technology assets throughout an organization can be can be integrated and you can get a bigger picture understanding of those by using integration capabilities. And as data is shared between systems via integrations, the data can be aggregated into single databases so that IT can monitor and measure data attributes to gain an understanding of how data should be managed on a device on different devices in the environment. So for example, if a specific application is found to have sensitive data, IT admins can be informed to enforce tighter security controls on the devices that have that application installed on them. We can also use integrations to apply business intelligence. And the goal of business intelligence is to aggregate large amounts of data from various systems across an enterprise and apply meaning to that data so that it can be interpreted for bigger picture insights. For example, you might want to be able to see what apps are being used most often by your most productive employees or students by integrating a device management inventory with an LMS or an employee review system. Or you might want to integrate your device management system with an IT service management system like Remedy or ServiceNow to inform decisions about change management, request fulfillment, application management, service asset and configuration management, capacity management, incident management, all sorts of things. You could really get a lot of great insights to help inform decisions about how you manage those processes and IT services by that type of integration. And a device management inventory can be integrated into other enterprise systems such as SCCM, Altiris, CMDB, enterprise architecture solutions, and as we talked about, even business intelligence tools. The Casper Suite offers plugins and a REST API which can enable an organization to integrate any of the extendable inventories within the Casper Suite with any other enterprise system. And doing this, the possibilities are really endless for managing data. Also to enhance business intelligence and also for managing IT services. So as a few examples of what you could do, other examples, you could integrate data about volume purchase applications and device warranties with a procurement system to track and control departmental costs. Or you could integrate a device and the ownership of the device with your change management system to see exactly what devices and users might be impacted by upgrading a service or a server where a business critical application resides. So anything in the Casper Suite can be integrated in a number of different ways into any other system that can support a standard API connection. The Casper Suite also integrates seamlessly with SCCM and Altiris to provide a single pane of glass, a view of all of the devices in your environment in one place. So if you have either of these Windows management tools, our plugins will allow you to view Apple device inventory from within either of these interfaces along with your Windows device inventory. And this is a screenshot of Apple device reporting from the Casper Suite from within SCCM. I don't have a live instance here. This is just a screenshot. But if you have SCCM in your environment, the Casper Suite can complement that solution by providing a seamless data integration between the two platforms. And this integration allows you to view Macs and mobile device inventories collected by the Casper Suite alongside of the PC inventories within the SCCM interface. So a last very quick demo, we're about out of time here, but I was going to just show very quickly the API. If you are a Casper or a Jamf software customer and you have the Casper Suite, you can access a view of the API and the calls that are available to you by going to your JSS address /API. And a really useful one here I found is the Advanced Computer Search API call. If I look at an output of what this might be, excuse me, let me log in really quickly. Let's say I had that one we looked at earlier, but Adobe Photoshop is one of my advanced computer searches we looked at early on. By looking at what this would output, if a system that supports a REST API placed a call to the JSS, this is what the JSS would respond with if this specific call was placed. And you can see that the JSS is responding by telling this other system all of the devices that are under management that have this particular application with this particular version installed. So again, this applies to any existing advanced computer search. So you can let your imagination run wild on what you could do with that. You could create custom fields using extension attributes. You can use those fields or any of the existing fields in Casper Suite to create really granular advanced computer searches. And then you can utilize the API to actually allow other systems to grab that data out of the Casper Suite, out of the JSS, and apply it to other databases. So a very powerful capabilities, which I could go into a little further, but running out of time here, I want to make sure I'm sensitive to everyone's time and that we leave time for QA. So to wrap up here very quickly with the Casper Suite, IT can gain visibility into the hardware and software in an enterprise environment to catalog assets and save costs. IT can scope deployments to automate more accurate deployments and save time. IT can verify that all security standards are maintained and scope deployments to correct security compliance issues. And IT can integrate hardware and software related data into enterprise ecosystems to gain more insight into how the technology is used and how it can be used more efficiently and effectively. So if you enjoyed this webinar today, visit jamfsoftware.com/webinar to view a library of other pre-recorded webinars. A recording of this presentation will be added to that library within the next few days. And visit jamfsoftware.com/events/webinar to register for our upcoming webinars, including the Casper Suite 101, which is coming up on March 26th, and it'll be a really great webinar for you if you're new to the Casper Suite or if you're new to Apple device management and you want to learn more. So one more time again, like I mentioned in the beginning of the presentation, if you'd like, please take a moment now to use the chat and QA features in the WebEx tools. Again, to submit any questions or comments you have, but also to vote on webinar topics that you'd like to see covered in the future. So you can send a chat with any topic that you'd like to hear about, and we'll consider trying to cover it in future webinars if possible. So with that, thank you so much for your time today. I'm going to shift over and answer some questions that may have been coming in. I apologize, I haven't been monitoring it, flying solo today, and haven't been monitoring it fully throughout the presentation. So just give me one moment to switch over, and if you have the time, stick around and we'll do a little bit of QA. Otherwise, if you have to jump off, certainly understand. And thank you so much for your time today. We'll hope to talk to you on future webinars. And also, if you have to jump off now, you can see all my contact information at the bottom of the screen there. My Jamf Nation username, my Twitter name, my LinkedIn account, just my name, of course, and then my email address as well. So you can contact me directly if you have any questions or comments or ideas where you think I can help you out or Jamf Software can help you solve problems and enhance your experience. Again, I want to thank everyone for joining me today and giving me your time. Your time is very valuable to us. If you're a customer of Jamf, we want to thank you so much for being a part of the community and using our software to solve your problems. And if you're not a customer yet, please check out Jamf Nation. Engage with the community. It's free. You don't have to sign up to view what's going on. And it's just a really great, rich community to be involved in, whether you use our products or not. And then if you want more information from us directly, like I said, just go to our website and contact us, or you can contact me directly. Thank you all so much again. I hope you have a wonderful day.